Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a new type of video. We are calling this one the long view. So the purpose of this video is to look at charts in weekly time frames or greater. So at the end of each week, I'll look at the weekly. If there is a month ending, I will look at monthly charts. Or at the end of the year, I'll look at yearly charts. So I will be looking at only weekly or higher charts. And we will take a look at the market direction to kind of a bird's eye view of what is going on in the market. And we'll also look at some setups from the weekly point of view or larger to determine, again, if a proper setup looks good. Sometimes when we only look at daily or even intraday, it can get it's hard to see the forest through the trees. So we're going to go ahead and take a step back, take a look at the bigger pictures and see what's going on. Before we get started, this video is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. I may have positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Also, if you enjoy this type of video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, so let's start. The way I want to format this is we're going to look at a brief overview of the markets to look at just market direction. So and then we're going to get into specific stocks that may be setting up. All right, so here's the SPX bigger picture all the way back to 2015, and we can see definite levels of importance right here, right here. This is a pretty big swathy area right here. And currently we are here. So right now, this looks like it's going to rotate up, right? We have a rising 23-week moving average, right? Exponential moving average. And so this was a nice last candle on Friday that ended on Friday. And I think testing these highs is a very likely scenario. Now that's when it gets dicey, right? Because then you have a potential for a double top to start taking place. But we're not there yet. I think there definitely is room to the upside here. 6.5% or so before we get to that point. It could happen next week. It could happen over the next couple weeks or longer. We don't know. But with the 23-week EMA moving higher, this kind of breakout, retest, and or consolidation, this looks like it wants to at least challenge all-time highs. Then we'll see what happens. Maybe it's a cup and handle type situation. Maybe it's something else. Let's go to the Qs. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on the indexes, more for direction. Here was the big trend channel that I've been talking about for quite a long time. And when we go in real close to the weekly, we see a very strong breakout above the trend channel. So do we get a situation like this where we come right back into it very quickly, or do we continue higher? As of right now, everything's going up. There's no reason to think that we wouldn't continue to go higher at this point, right? No indications at all. Volume was pretty good, right? Volume was pretty good on Friday, or the last week, I should say, and so I would expect this to continue higher. Of course, there'll be shakeouts and retests and pullbacks and consolidations, but on the weekly chart, it's been a beautiful trend right now. This was the prior high that we were watching, and it got, after a few weeks, got demolished and moving higher. So right now, this trend channel is not really valid anymore, unless within the next week or two we come back within it, and that would give a lot of information. And then this area would be the one, the 238-ish area would be the area that I'd want to see hold. Looking at the IWM on the weekly, we have the double top here. There you go. That's the result. And now we are consolidating right in this important area. So the 23-week EMA is moving higher. So that's a positive. I think good chance that we may make it into this next level, stair stepping higher. It is a huge amount of earnings next week in the financial sector, which is a big weighting in the IWM. So it's something to be aware of. That will definitely cause this to move. Positive earning outcomes or response to earnings, I should say. And this will definitely move into this other area. And if it's a negative response to earnings, we'll be probably retesting down here. We'll see. All right. So that's it for the indexes. For the most part, the ones that I really care about, SPX and the QQQ, those are both moving higher. The trend is higher, as noted by the rising 23-week EMA. They both have a rising 23-week EMA. So trend's higher. So let's look at some stocks. All right. First one is Pinterest. Here we go from the IPO. This was the important area. You see, week ending June 29th, we broke out, continued higher. We'll love to see this one retest, right? Retest 2350-ish, and that would be an optimum entry point. And even if it doesn't, as we kind of clear all this prior supply in here, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of weeks of consolidation happen, maybe some choppy action, and then for the move higher to actually occur. It's kind of got this inverse head and shoulders look to it. So it's a nice bottoming pattern. Again, with longer time frames, this may be a good entry as is. We'll have to see what happens. All right, moving on. Next one is Paylocity. And Paylocity made this deep cup. And to me, this is just kind of consolidating here right at prior all-time highs. I wouldn't mind it making a little handle here. Even a slight pullback for a week or two would be perfect. It did try to break out, came right back. So again, it's a watch list item until we can confirm and hold a breakout here. But yeah, a couple of weeks of sideways movement would be probably the most bullish thing this could do. Moving on to Okta. Okta with the beautiful breakout, no looking back so far. 23-day EMA is moving higher, and it's a second stage, we'll call it, right? This was a primary here, second stage base, but it's moving higher. So as long as it's acting well, it looks pretty good. Atlassian, which is one that I currently own, broke out of the double bottom. Now it's moved sideways, and now it's hanging out above this consolidation, which I think is a positive. If it broke back down below, that may change my feelings on this. But as of right now, Atlassian looks very good and close to right at the buy point for me. Looking at AYX, Alteryx. Double bottom, breakout, moving higher. There's another one. Wouldn't mind if it pulled back a little bit or moved sideways a little bit. That would be extremely bullish. Or at least it would give me a potential better entry. It's a little bit extended right now. So that would be what I'm looking for here. But it's definitely a nice looking name with a very good underlying pattern for the long term. Sorry, put the right ticker in because that looks terrible. Here we go, Ring Central. Beautiful uptrend, broke out of whatever you want to call this, and then has moved sideways since, right? So if it can get above, 296 or even 300, I think that Ring Central can continue much higher. But we're just watching for this choppiness to kind of alleviate itself. Let's look at Dynatrace. Here's a recent IPO. So it is just stair-stepping higher, right? Looks like it wants to take the next step very soon. Beautiful looking name in an uptrend. So there's Dynatrace. Here's one I was involved with a few years ago, back in, I believe it was in this area right here. It's Farfetch. They do high-end online apparel, clothing, I believe is what they do. And here was from IPO came down here, right? This kind of held its support, broke through it, And now we're back to this area and price is now above it. We also see a volume weighted average price from the IPO is now starting to turn up, right? And price is above it. So we do like that a lot. I think above $19 and Farfetch could be a reasonable play. Next up is Wayfair. Wayfair had this area right here that was resistance, broke out, came back, retested, and now is moving higher. We'll love to see one more retest. Don't know if it's going to really happen or not. Maybe a little bit extended from here. But again, we're talking about longer term time frames. So we have to know our time frame. But again, I would love to see this pull back a little bit, even just to 189, 190. That would be maybe more ideal entry. Next up will be CrowdStrike. You can see here, IPO volume weighted average price. We got to the a point here, became resistance, got back to that point here, became resistance, and now we broke out. It's a beautiful chart. It's on its way up. There's really nothing negative about this, except, of course, we would love for that little pullback, right? Always on the pullback, let it retest that 100 level, and then move higher. Don't know if that's going to happen, though. This one's pretty strong. Zscaler. We can easily put in a little something there. I don't know, something like that. Kind of broke out and consolidated, and this week broke out again. Zscaler, another really strong one, just like CrowdStrike. I don't know if we're going to get any kind of major pullback in this one. I mean, the volume is insane to the upside. People want to be involved in this name, and that's a good thing, right? And so do we. Fiverr International. Again, a little bit extended. Would love to see consolidation here for a new entry. But I do like this one quite a bit. Very, very strong. You see the volume. If I just can extend it a little bit more, just nobody's selling this. Everyone's buying this one. So I really do like this. And my last one is going to be Fortinet. And you can see this was consolidation. Then we had this little move up, and now we're consolidating again. Pretty good volume coming in here. I do like this volume pattern right here. If we could get above 150, right? If we get above 150 and hold on the weekly, I think Fortinet could be a very good moving forward. All right, again, this is know your time frame, know your risk tolerance, right? These are all weekly charts for week of 7/12/20, week ending. So this is so know your time frame. That's it. This is for longer period charts. Hope you guys have a good week. Hope you like this format. Leave me some comments if you like this type of format or not, and I will talk to you later.